what are you doing this? Why are you doing this for this low price? Like for real, like this, you can value yourself a little bit higher. Like you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to say how much you're worth and believe that in yourself. Even if it's not true, even if you don't think it's true, your product is premium. So put a premium price tag on that junk and stop playing with it, man.
What are you doing today that makes you better than the person you were yesterday? That is part of the Ascension brand. That is the motto, the heart of what we stand for. When I pass away, I want people to know. I want people to remember me, not for the time that I've spent on this planet, but for the things that I have done to contribute to society. My mama raised a loser, but I broke the chains. I wasn't made to be a player, I was made to build a game.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Dirty Trunk Podcast, where the elephant is always welcome. It is me, your boy Marcus Morton. Always here with me is the Aaron, the AJ McMullen. And before we get started, please trample over that like and subscribe button. We do this for y'all because we love y'all, and we just want to give y'all the motivation to be better than y'all were yesterday. How are we doing, Mac? For the second time.
Take two.
Take two. Y'all.
Take two. Action. All right. I'm doing good, man. Can't complain about stuff. As I was saying on the previous iteration of today's episode, I'm working with a situation trying to figure out if Amazon is going to sell me a completely different book for a price lower than what it was already priced at. As far as the Legacy of the Arcane and Flame go. So that's a little bit of exciting news. If I can get that book, as at its current state, at its full potential, at above 10% of its power, as Shaggy say. I still want to know where the hell that meme came from, but we'll get to that in a second. If I could get that book, 146,000 words, 73 chapters. Like, if I could get that book for $3.30 printed, bro, we about to bank. We about to bank.
I think the meme came at, I forget which iteration of Scooby-Doo it was, but it was like Shaggy had his little 5 minutes of fame on one episode or something. I think it was like he got hypnotized, thought he was somebody else. And I think he walked into a bar and like squared up with everybody in the bar or something like that.
The fuck?
It's weird. Yeah, they gotta give the comic relief their one shot of fame every 100 episodes or something. They something happens to them, or they're finally useful in one of these episodes that they got like 100 of. The 101 episode, the side character saves the day or stops the bad guy or something like that.
Oh, Scooby-Doo, man, on some weird stuff, man. They has all types of crossovers that don't make absolutely no sense. I'm like, who planned this?
What was it?
Like, you start thinking about how
wrestling.
Yeah, the WWE joint, bro. I'm like, how in the hell?
Kiss was on there at one point in time.
Yeah, they used to have all kind of crossovers back in the day. Like, even with the original Scooby-Doo show, like they used to have like celebrity stand-ins.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, bro, that don't even really make sense for real.
I mean, it had us watching it, I guess. I don't know. That is pretty interesting.
I ain't started appreciating Scooby-Doo until I got a little older, though.
Really?
Yeah. And by older, I was saying like it wasn't really interesting to me when I was a young kid, but like when I was like a teenager, I was like watching it for real. I don't know, like a pup named Scooby Doo was kind of like my jam for a bit, and then I kind of stopped watching that because then I realized that a pup named Scooby Doo had absolutely no continuity to the original show, so I was like really uninterested.
I feel that. Yeah. I don't know. It Scooby Doo was
It was a mixed bag.
yeah.
That's the best way to describe it.
I feel like it had a little bit something for everybody, I guess.
Yeah, it was literally marketing. Like that was the whole show. That whole show was marketing. It was marketing to everybody. Because remember they had the one show. It was like super serious. It was almost like an anime, and they had the witch doctor dude with him, and he always had the cape and the crystal ball. I think it was just Shaggy and Scooby, and they had Scrappy with them, and the dude, the magician dude, and that joint was like mad serious. I'm like, bro, this show was depressing. Like it had all of the dark, gloomy music to it, and all of their situations was like they were like super serious. Like people were about to die on them joints. Like, yeah, remember that shit.
Blast from the past.
Man, ain't it though? They still making them jokers. I wish they started making Ed, Ed and Eddie again.
So I seen somebody break down Ed and Eddie, and they were like, why was it more focused to like actually teaching kids how to, or not even kids, but like teenagers to be in the bag? Like Ed, each and every day was just trying to make a plan to get some money, Eddie, to scheme, whatever, hustle. Mans was in the trenches trying to get these jawbreakers, and it wasn't nothing he wouldn't do to achieve his goal. I'm talking about Mans was out here like, all right, if I get everybody around the block to believe or to buy or to trade in something, we'll have enough money. We can all get some jawbreakers at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think there should have been a little more insight on that show. I think the biggest problem though, and I understand exactly what you're saying, but I think there was one problem with that show that allowed people to completely forget everything that they were being shown on every episode, is the fact that they kept using the word scam.
Ooh.
Because when Eddie was coming up with the plans to make the money that he was trying to make, he was always saying that he would like, what can we do to scam people from of their money? What kind of scam could we put on to get everybody's jawbreakers? Like he used to always use that word scam, and I think that once you use the word scam, it just kind of it kind of makes everything that it pretty much null and voids everything that you're talking about. And in this case, we're talking about people, we're talking about money and how to get in the bag. Like there was certain situations where he wasn't even scamming people. He was literally just trying to sell something. And he used the word scam. So everything above and beyond is pretty much null and void.
True. Presentation plays a big part in a lot of things in life. Like you said, the word scam just it's a bitter taste. Everybody, it's a It's a nasty taste to everybody. You think of scam, you think of pyramid schemes, you know, you think of scams, you think of for at one point in time it was salesmen. You know,
At one point in time, it still is.
hey, you know, and I feel like I don't even know, like the in your bag piece, right? A lot of people they get hung up on the I don't want to, like you said, I don't want to scam people. I don't want to put that bitter taste in people's mouth. So sometimes they undervalue themselves, or they sell it at a lower price, or they don't sell it at the full value that they should be selling it, or you know, they don't do the service to their full potential. They, you know, burn themselves out. They try to go above and beyond and end up doing more harm than good.
Oh, you were done.
Yeah.
Um, so I am a victim of that. What you just said, you know, not putting enough value on yourself because you know, you trying to think so much about what the other person is going to think when they see it. Like what what are they going to look at when they see your prices, when they see your product? How are they going to feel? Well, I don't want people to feel this type of way about me. I don't want people to feel that way about me. And you know, what I ended up learning was that doesn't matter. Like it's not important. Like how people feel about your product is not important. Like what people see when they see your product is not really a issue. It's not really a factor because once the only thing that really matters is selling the product and making adding value to the product itself. Like me as an author all day, like not like you can talk about how you know you hate authors. Whoop de damn do. If you hate authors, I mean it is what it is. But do you like the story? A person can hate books all day. People can hate reading, but there's people who hate reading who love Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, the first season of Game of Thrones was in like 14 books. You don't see those people talking about how much they hate books at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, what I learned about this business is that, you know, you got to look at what you bring to the table, and it takes a hint of arrogance to do this. It does, because I've gotten full of myself in the recent years, man. Especially, you know, after we've gone to all these conventions and stuff, and you know, stood behind all these tables and heard all of these different opinions and all this other stuff. I've heard it all at this point, man. You know, I can't wait to get back into it. Can't wait to get back behind those tables and start slanging this new product, man. Because now I got a better idea of what is supposed to happen in the market. So, you know, like, bro, I'm just like, yo, nobody is going to value me but me. I've had way too many people tell me, bro, and you know, it takes for the first person to come and be like, yo, this is hot. What are you doing this? Why are you doing this for this low price? Like, for real, like this, you can value yourself a little bit higher. Like you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to say how much you're worth and believe that in yourself. Even if it's not true, even if you don't think it's true, your product is premium. So put a premium price tag on that joke and stop playing with it, man.
I feel that, and people don't see that's all it takes is a little bit of arrogance, and like I don't know if it's just not learned over time, or you know, we're
But because arrogance is always put into a negative light. And I had this conversation with Alyssa all the time about being arrogant and trying to play God and all that other stuff. Like, she can't stand Kanye West, and I'm like, it's some things that we can learn from this man. Like the way he moves in the world, like he feels like he's Jesus. So he portrays himself as high and mighty.
Yeah.
And it works for him. Like, there's a level of humility that you got to put into it, because there has to be a balance on that. Like, because once you go too overboard, people hate Kanye West just to hate Kanye West. You know what I'm saying? So, once you add a little humility to it, you become Jay-Z.
Okay. Now, what is it that people start out, at a young age, thinking they can fly, and then they go through the school system, and their value is based on test scores, how well you do in school, and it's not focused on you. You don't get graded on you and what you perceive yourself is. You get graded on what the school grading scale is, right? I remember one time I was sitting one of my college courses in English class, and the English teacher was sitting there. She's going over basically how she grades her research papers, and she sits there. She states, she's not gonna sit there. Basically saying that she's not gonna sit there and read a whole paper. She's gonna read like the first couple of pages or something like that, and do the scores based on that. She was going on like how different English teachers can grade this way and all this other stuff. And I raised my hand and I basically said, I'm like, so you're telling us it's impossible to get an A in this class? You're saying that each English teacher can look at a paper and grade it differently, and that's okay? Like, there's no standard of anything. It's just, we're at the whim of, I don't know, the system. I was like, what in the world?
The system changes depending on which professor you're talking to. And I had one professor acknowledge me as doctor, or I'll reduce your grade. And I had another professor acknowledge me as professor. It's like the title page looked different on this based on this professor versus this professor, and I'm like, bro, y'all full of it.
That's insane. But like you said, man, nobody's gonna value you or your work like you value you or your work. And we go through life always at the whim of being valued by external factors.
Mm-hmm.
And it's never a situation where, especially from our environments, where people are looking inward to change. It's always something external. I want to be perceived as wealthy. All right, I need the car, I need the house, I need the family, I need the greatest fashion, and then boom, at the end of the day, after I achieve all that, I am wealthy. But that's not that is not the case. That is not what we're trying to promote. We're trying to promote that wealth comes from being in your bag and being able to have the assets to continue that wealth, to the point where you can pass that down. You can't just own a vehicle, you got all these things that need payments at the end of the day, but you don't have the residual income to make those payments and do more with your life.
Mm-hmm. Or they just not assets, and you just have a whole bunch of payments that you're making with no income.
Got a whole bunch of liabilities.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So the biggest thing that changed, well, the smallest thing that changed my whole perspective on life, and this started the whole trend on how I perceived myself, because there was a time in my life where you said the external factors thing, man, and that was real for me. Like I allowed external factors, people, organizations, I used to let everything determine what I was or what I was supposed to be. And at some point, you just get tired of that. You just get tired of people telling you where you're supposed to be, how you're supposed to act, what their perceived notion of you is, and all this other stuff like that. And you I mean, you just get tired of that, man. Like I don't even know if me from back in 20 2015, well, not 2015. Was I adult? No, I was 15 in 2015. Never mind. I don't even know if the person from like from 2020, like me from 2020, like I don't even know if that person would have been suitable to be the supervisor on the Amazon ship dock. Like I don't even know if I had the the uh the wherewithal or the self-awareness to even be at that level at that time. And like it's just a matter of growth, but it all started with the small statement of you have to teach people how to treat you. It all started there for me. And once I heard that, I got dug a little deeper into it. Like, what does that mean? We teach people how to treat you. What does that truly mean? And what I came across was that you can't allow people to persuade you to be something that you're not. You can't allow your personality to be molded by the thoughts and perceptions of who you are when you're around. And that's what people used to do to me all the time. I was, at the time when I heard it, I was in a relationship with someone who had a certain perception of who they wanted me to be. I was at a job that didn't allow self expression. Also, I was in the army that also didn't allow self expression. So I was a part of all of these different organizations and all of these things that taught me that we are going to be your personality.
Mm. That's real. That's so real. And it's interesting you went there because recently, I think it was probably a couple days ago, Courtney of all people. I ain't gonna say, say it like that or mean it like that. But no, she came out of the blue. We were sitting there, we were talking about something, and she played this video out loud, and it was talking about non-negotiable. Everybody should have non-negotiables. And it went on to explain, kind of like a scenario that Mac was talking about, how when you don't have non-negotiables, you're basically like a piece of Play-Doh that everybody has hands in that mold you to their lifestyle, not your lifestyle, but their lifestyle. You conform to the world when you don't have non-negotiables. And it's like necessary that you have something that you stand on, whether it be good, bad, for you, it's going to be the best thing that you can do, not anybody else. When you have non-negotiables, you have something that you can stand on. You have a foundation for your life, not anybody else's, because you're the pilot. You're the pilot of your life, and without non-negotiables, you're just out here, just kind of like a barrel in water.
You let passengers jump in the cockpit.
Facts. That don't even know where they going, so they gonna try to direct
They don't know
your
how to
life.
fly the plane. They don't know the destination of the plane. They don't know how to. They don't know how to put the joint on autopilot. They dropping crumbs in the joint. They done recorded. They done recorded over what you got going on the black box. Like look, we can go on for days for this one. But yeah, that's real life, bro. Like, have those non-negotiables. Like, I made it a non-negotiable to, because there was a time where I don't know if I talked about this for real, but my ex-wife, man, she tried to get me to stop writing. She said that my books were, the word she used at the time was cartoony. Yeah, she said that the books were cartoony, and they weren't good, and I she wanted me to just find a job that was going to pay a whole lot of money so that she could live a certain lifestyle while still doing the stuff that she was doing outside of our marriage. But that's not what we're here to talk about. I've done a lot of things to try to own my craft, and I just remember my ex-wife just shitting on all of it. Like, I was doing music when I met her. She shut that down. Can't do music no more. I tried to and I've always been writing. So, like, working on the Age of Universe long before it even had a name, I was working on it. Writing the book. I wrote the one book that I rewrote a few times. Up until this point, I was working on that at the time. I think that was like the second rendition at that point. Those were, it was right after the iPad Touch days, or the iPod Touch days, when I was writing the books on the iPod Touch. So ancient times, man. But I just remember writing that stuff, and just getting her to read it, just go over it with me or whatever. And I just remember her saying, like, "This is cartoony. It's not good. Nobody is going to want to read this," and all this other stuff, man. And I'm just like, yo, and at the time I was just like, man, you're right. So yeah, man. There was a moment where, because I didn't know who I was and what I wanted to do, somebody else who was in charge of my life decided that, or who thought they were in charge of my life, who I gave control to in my life, they jumped in and they decided that the thing that you are doing, a thing that I'm obviously gifted at from God, obviously gifted. She came in and said that this is not what you're doing. You're going to do something else. And just imagine, bro, just imagine, somewhere in the alternate universe, there's a person who decided that, they were with a kid named Stanley Lieberson, who they were like, "You're not about to draw comic books, you going to the army." And Marvel wasn't created.
That's all right. So that's deep, right? Because, like we said before, people need to put put a premium price on what they bring to the table. Cause Stanley, he had a vision. He brought it to the table, and look where he is now. And just think of the countless
man's career is still moving. He did.
Big facts. And people out here won't even take the first step to a journey like that and miss out on so much. Like, it's insane how much we let slide. Now I'm talking about, like, we miss out on, we can't take trips, you can't enjoy life the way you want to, you can't have the lifestyle you want to, all because we're too afraid to be someone like Stanley, someone like
whoever. We're too afraid
to
be us.
That too.
We're too afraid to be us. And this is starting to come back into what I was talking about on the original episode today, of us letting other people, since we need to water it down for the sake of the podcast, we're letting other people tell us, other organizations tell us where we need to be in our lives, what we need to do. We're spending way too much effort on the things that we are doing and not doing the things that we are supposed to be doing. And because of that, we're not growing in the things that we're supposed to be doing. We're not even growing in our careers right now. That's on either scale. So it's like literally on two fronts, moving in two different directions and not moving nowhere at the same time. Ma, do you plan on climbing the corporate ladder at your job?
Hell no.
How much have you had to sacrifice? How much time and opportunities have you had to sacrifice in developing in your career? Because your career is a lot harder to develop than mine. Like it's no joke to be a developer of a video game. How much time have you dedicated to Morton's Castle since you started working at this job that you have?
A lot less than what I was doing at the previous job. So people say that, it's greener on the other side, or people assume that it's greener on the other side. But it's not for real. Like,
it never is, bro.
If you can get in your bag, if you have just a sliver of time to get in your bag, just if you can downsize. But like, for real, if you have the time, if you have the situation, you still living with your parents. Mac said this before. If you ain't got any type of responsibilities, if you out here single and you got the time, do it then.
Yeah, hell
as
yeah,
you listening to this, do it. Start right now. Have this jank playing in the background. You can start right now. Like, if you can dump hours upon hours into your bag, do it. Like, don't waste no time. Because once you get out here, once you get into that 9 to 5 routine, it becomes just that, and it becomes damn near hard to break it.
Yeah, I'm about to say it's almost impossible to get out of, man. Like, not even just not like it. It is not as simple as just quitting a job.
Facts.
You had to change your mentality. And one of the things that I see happens is that, because we've talked about believing in other entities more than you believe in you. We still have that problem. We believe more in our jobs than we believe in what our abilities to provide income for ourselves. We believe that our jobs are like, because other organizations have dictated our circumstances for so long, we tend to believe, blue collar people, we tend to believe that the organization that we work for has more of an ability to provide for my family than I do. And bro, when you starting, like when Mark talk, you in the basement, you at your parents' house, you ain't paying no rent, bro. Right there is the time to become an entrepreneur. Because once, like, there's too many factors keeping you from being an entrepreneur once you get into the real world in corporate America. There's way too many factors keeping you from being an entrepreneur. Because entrepreneurship is what your boss's boss did. But your boss is going to teach you jobs. Your boss is going to teach you to fall in line. Your boss is going to teach you to, you know, he gonna teach you to, if you're trying to climb the corporate ladder, your boss is gonna teach you how to be a manager. He's not gonna teach you how to be the owner.
Mm.
All right, somebody missed that somewhere. When you are in your parents' basement, is the time to be the owner of the company. You need to be focusing on on owning the company, because owning the company, the responsibilities and the paycheck of owning the company looks a whole lot different than the people managing the company. So who would you rather learn from? The person who owns the company? Would you rather be with business owners, in the circle of business owners who are winning at life, or the person who is managing the company under the owner, who's only winning because the owner said they are?
That's
Just
it's
food for
crazy
thought, folks.
because it is it's frustrating. It is so frustrating being here because, like you said, like we've all seen the freedoms of being an owner, uh, and yet we settle for being managers because for
It's
whatever
guaranteed.
reason,
It's guaranteed. It's already built. It's paying the bills. And that's pretty much all the people's criteria. Like everybody's their needs are small. Like they as long as it pays the bills, I'm gonna do it because it pays the bills.
that's only that's just convenient. It's nothing more than convenience. It ain't living. It ain't living above your means. It's not going beyond. It's just
Well, the thing is
survival.
though, people tend to live above their means once they start working. And here's where I don't know, man. I think it has to be a reason that it's happening to everybody. There's very few people, like you say, they talk about that 1%
Yes.
club of people who are wealthy. There's a 1% of the population who is working their job and buys absolutely nothing. Like they experience no lifestyle creep. They just they just work, and they just got the money just sitting in the bank. They're not saving for anything in particular, but they actually have a savings account with something in it. There's very few people I've never met them, but I've heard legend that they're out there.
Mm-mm.
It's an urban myth somewhere that on every job that there's somebody who, they come to work and they got one boiled egg for the whole shift. They ain't spending no money on food. They ain't spending no money on their car. They got like a, a old 1993 Honda Civic. They got a mullet haircut. I do have somebody in mind. Somebody that we work with at Amazon, but dude always had uh always worked overtime, had an old car that I have absolutely no idea how it still worked. But yeah, he wasn't really, and we don't know his financial situation outside of the job, but we just know this man The only thing he spends money on is gas and cigarettes. Like I don't even think I ever seen him eat nothing. But that's neither here or there. And you know who I'm talking about, right? Old dude work with us. Old dude work with us at Amazon.
Had
cart
a mullet
wrangler.
haircut.
A cart wrangler.
Oh yeah.
Well, it wasn't a mullet, but it was like the soccer mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know what my man's personal situation was outside. He could have had some kids that he was sending money to in jail or a college fund or some shit like that. But typically, those type of people, they don't deal with the lifestyle creep. I think that folks who when they get into corporate America, they've experienced that lifestyle creep. They want to have something to show for the amount of time that they sacrificed while they were working. So, in a nutshell, you get a situation where there's somebody who has been working for, let's say 10 years for a job. That lifestyle creep that we talked about, they experience that because they want to feel good about something. Because at a job, it's hard to feel good about anything when there's nothing to feel good about. You're just a pawn, and the only thing that you're doing is feeding someone else's dream. You're not even feeding your own dream. They give you all of these hopes and these hopes and aspirations during your interview and everything, making all of these false promises, making it sound like you're actually accomplishing something, but you're really just existing. And I think the lifestyle creep, when you start talking about that, and because I'll get to a point. I'm sorry, I'd have dragged this all out the hell, but when people they have this lifestyle creep, it puts them in a situation where at the end of everything, they have crept up so much and gained so many liabilities that at the end of the day, it's hard to break away from. So when we say, if you in the basement, you in your old bedroom that you grew up in, you just starting out, bruh, focus on the bag. Focus on your bag, fam. Because once you start and if you were asking how is it harder to get out of corporate America, that is why. We are dealing with it right now. We have gained too many liabilities. We got way too many anchors holding us down right now. And that is the reason why it's so hard for us to make that transition and move on into something that we were supposed to be at in the beginning. Because we have dug a hole for ourselves and put all this, we jumped in it and we had people just dumping our liabilities on top of us in this hole, and now we got to try to dig our way out of. And when we could have just been focusing on the bag the entire time. I could have been focusing on the Eighth Universe back when the Eighth Universe first started. Bro, I had this idea in 2010, folks. 2010, 14 years ago, I had this idea. Actually, we coming up to the 14th anniversary of the Eighth Universe. It was around this time in 2010 when I started writing the first Aether book. We're coming up on the 14th anniversary of Aether. So, folks, it took me this long to do what? I was focusing on the Army. I was focusing on my deadbeat ex-wife. I was focusing on being a father to I ain't gonna go there because that sounds like an attack. So I'm gonna keep that one to myself. I was focusing on doing things that I had absolutely no business doing. Focusing on somebody else's bag. Focusing on making everybody else feel good. Meanwhile, I was back here suffering. I could have been working on my craft. I could have been working on the Eighth Universe already. I wanted to do it, but everything else was telling me not to. I wanted to do it, but everything else was telling me that it wasn't important. I wanted to do it, but it wasn't making any money. My job was. You got to get back to zero and focus on the bag. Because that's the only thing that's important. When it's all said and done, you will only want to focus on, and you know, for those of you who are not black enough to understand what we're saying about the bag, we're talking about the thing that you're gifted at, your hustle, your gift. Focus on that.
Yeah, because we're prime example. Like Max said, we're prime example of, you know, following and falling into the 9 to 5 routine, and everything you said just made me think back when I was, I think it was, you know, I was graduating from college with my associates, and was talking to one of the counselors or whatever. She's a friend of the family. You know, we come from a small town, all this other stuff. Uh, she's like, all right, you know, what classes are you looking to take next and all this other stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna take a break from school. I'm gonna start working, you know, get my money up and all this other stuff. You know, she was like, I don't really think that's a good idea. You know, you're already on a roll. You know, if you take a break now, there might be uh basically she was trying to kind of warn me that, you know, if you stop now,
You
it
ain't gonna
really
ever
ain't
pick
no
it back
coming
up.
back. Yeah, yeah. And lo and behold, you know, it happened. You know, I went to the workforce, you know, and I was eager. I'm like, stack my money up and get paid, you know, I'm gonna be out here, you know.
And don't skip past the fact that you probably had that thought because of external factors.
Yeah. Cause my the only reason I graduated uh was because of like scholarships, like financial aid stopped paying. And get this, right? The only reason my financial aid stopped is because I was working.
Yeah.
Because I was working at Amazon, the place we work now. Well, not now, but the place we used to work. It changed the household income, and it voided me of getting financial aid.
Yeah, because you're working now. What the hell you need my money for? Since you want to work. Get to paying for this college with your working ass.
And do you understand how wild that is? Like the only it baffles me to this day. Like after connecting all the dots, you know, you started working. I was doing both full time, job and school. You know, trying to get good grades and make money on the side. You know, we get into the mindset of we gotta make money, gotta make money, gotta make money. I start making money and still lose money on the back end. Like that doesn't like piss you guys off. Like the system is literally here for you to get
It
stuck
does.
into.
It does piss people off. But the problem when it does piss some people off, they tend to, because people are putting more emphasis on other organizations than they are their own gift, their own bag. When people when that happens to people, because you know they always say that it's not about what you can't afford, it's how you can afford it. And what people typically do in this situation is they'll find another job that pays more. If you get tired of something, I don't get paid enough here. I need a job that's going to pay more. So they find another job that pays more instead of focusing on their bag. And see, here's the deep part about it. We have been coming up on money challenge after money challenge after money challenge. And I asked Alyssa, I said, you know what's wild? And she was like, what? I was like, we've been focusing on this money problem for so long and so consistently that neither of us have just looked in the mirror and was like, what are we going to do to make this money that doesn't pertain to working a job? Like we were just like, and I mean, we were going to blows about these changes that we were making, and I was just like, ain't neither one of us say anything about the eighth universe yet. Releasing a book, in the process of releasing a book to sell it, sell, to make money, sell,
to make a profit,
to make a profit. And during this whole conversation, we said absolutely nothing about our gift or our bag. And I was like, I think it's time that we become entrepreneurs. And she was like, what you mean we're already entrepreneurs? I was like, we are, but this conversation doesn't show that we're acting like it.
Ooh.
So when are we going to start acting like it?
A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't make it to that realization. And it first of all, a lot of people don't even start to be in their bag to get to that realization. And I don't know why. But I'm just we're here to say, yo, for like
to my wife's point, it's because to my wife's point, it's because it's not making money yet.
And this is why we say, if you in a position in your life, if you, like Max said, if you in the basement, start there. But if you're already in the 9 to 5 routine, it's gonna have to be some cuts. It's gonna have to be some cuts that benefit you and you alone. Because once you in it, you are in it. You are stuck. You that hamster that's running on that wheel. And the crazy thing about it, you don't even choose when you're on the wheel. When you're in the 9 to 5, the job or whatever organization, external factors choose when you get to be on that wheel. And you could be exhausted, you could be tired, you could be fed up.
You can want more. You want more hours to get more money, and they could just be like, "Nah, you good. Survive on what we gave you."
Right. Even that's wild, bro. Like, and we just mentioned that, at the beginning. Like, well, actually, no, that was on take one.
That was the last one. Yeah.
The job told me that, hey, you can't make over what we want you to make. And then turn around and was like, all right, we're at an inconvenience, so we're going to inconvenience you now. We need you to come in on the weekend and fix our fuck ups.
Oh, fool.
And I'm like, what type of of life is this where you don't have control over you can't even control the hours you make for like, yeah, you might have some jobs where you can come in and do overtime, but at what cost? Like Max said, we're working all these hours. Both me and Mac, 2 different jobs, 2 different walks of the corporate train ladder.
Yeah.
Working over 60 hours plus.
And
like we said, we ain't even got time to figure out
what a topic for an episode. It's saddening, bro, because it just make it seem like in my mind, it's like you make time for what's important, and it's like I'm making more time for for the job than anything.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not making time for anything else but the job. I'm not making time for my wife and kid. I'm not making time for you. I'm not making time for this podcast. I'm not making time for Aether. I said I was going to finish the book in February. Bro, I listened back to an episode where I was like, February 22nd, I'm going to be finished with this book. And I had all the time in the world to finish the book. But guess where I was at? In the process of trying to figure out how to get a job. And then once I got the job, it was even worse. I was putting deadlines out there, and I'm just listening back to all these deadlines that I set for myself, all these goals that I set for myself, and I'm like, bro, you suck. You were absolute trash at the things that you said you were going to do. And I'm just like, yo, why am I so inconsistent? Oh, it's work. You don't get time to write at work. And that waking up at 4:00 thing to write, though it's effective and though it's gotten you this far, bro, you could be doing better. You could be doing a whole lot better.
It just that just made me come to the realization. It's wild how the most convenient thing, the most convenient factor in our lives makes us the most inconvenient to all other aspects of our life.
Mm-hmm. Because it throws off all balance. You know, those 10 gears that we talked about, you know, that we been working too much to actually put any development into, you know, one of those gears, you know, being work, and things that you do for profit, you know, that one is overloaded. That gear is overloaded. It's spinning out of control. It's the only gear around it that got gears. Everything else is rounded at this point. It can't catch on to nothing. It is completely ground out, and it has overtaken everything, but it's not spinning nothing else. Your relationships fall off. Your family fall off, your fun falls off, your fulfillment falls off, like everything else falls off, but that gear is still spinning. Because when if for anybody out there who has gotten divorced for their job, well, because of their job, you know, you work too much, your wife was just like, I'm done with this, marry the office, marry your cubicle, your work computer, your laptop. Just, you know, screw the charger port on that whenever you get horny, because I'm not doing it no more. Blase splee. You know, anybody who has ever gone through that, that was a funny goddamn joke, goddamn it. But anyway, anybody who has ever gone through through something like that, you know, it's a traumatic experience. However, you know, you grieve your marriage all you want, but your job doesn't give bereavement for divorce. They don't even care. It happens, and it's just like, oh well. And then here's what. Ooh, oh my god. Here's what really happens here. Like, I was my for the first time ever. Hold on, it gets worse. It gets worse. For the first time ever, I had to tell my wife on the phone, "Don't wait up for me." It broke her heart. It messed her up. I heard it over the phone. I was just like, oh, I really just said that. Don't wait up. I really just said that. And when it came out of my mouth, that like I got cold all of a sudden, like a ghost passed through me. And, you know, I heard something on the other line, and I, you know, I can only explain it now, was like, she found out that I was cheating on her or something. Like it was almost like that kind of trepidation in her voice that I heard. And we got off the phone, and I went to go tell my managers about it, and they laughed. And they were like, that's just part of the job. We're here with you.
What? That don't make it better.
Yeah,
It's
but
like,
if
oh, we
everybody,
all in it together.
if it's
No.
already happening, if it's already happening to the rest of us, we know how to coach you through it to make it okay. And then we just got on a conversation about long days at work, just almost justifying it the entire time. Even to the point where one of my managers was like, I am envious of single men because they don't have to do.
That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, all right. So, Brett, do you understand that the 9 to 5 is so, I don't even know how to explain it. Like we could say it's so toxic. It's so blinding to the point that what Mac just said is almost like the first time I'm hearing it, and it just doesn't make sense. Now that I'm thinking about it, it doesn't make sense no matter how you spin it, how you say it. You work a 9 to 5, and the 9 to 5 takes you away from your home so much that you get a divorce for whatever reason. Whatever reason on the back end. You come
Mm-hmm.
home, all you can do is eat, drink, whatever to cope with what your day had.
Mm-hmm.
And
Because we're in the process of while we're talking about convenience, I also want to make it apparent that there are some men who are getting their rocks off for convenience sake too, and it doesn't involve their wives because they're working so much.
and all that leads to a divorce, a loss on your end. And they don't even give you time off for that. Like, that don't make sense. Someone you thought you was gonna spend the rest of your life. That's dang near like a death in the family. And even those bereavements is wild. Cause if it's not literally like immediate family, like family that you came from.
That's not every job though.
What, for bereavement?
Like some jobs don't get bereavement at all, but there's
Even
other jobs.
crazier.
There's other jobs that give bereavement for other families outside of just mom, dad, brother, sister.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. Like Amazon, they didn't give bereavement. Like even if you had like a nephew die, they didn't
Yeah.
give bereavement for that because it wasn't immediate.
Yeah, it's just like you
I'm
said,
like,
mom, dad, brother, grandpa,
so
grandma.
yeah, grandpa, grandma. But if my aunt passes, then I can't get a day off. Like I'm
Yeah.
not close to my aunt.
Like,
If
cause
my brother passed, then I can get 3 days off. 3 days off to go to his funeral.
mm,
But if my brother's son passes, I can't get 3 days off. Like, how does that work, man?
it's insane. And what we're trying to get people to realize is we're trying to bring that to light. We're trying to make people understand that living the life of 9 to 5, of that creep lifestyle, as Max said, it ain't gonna get you nowhere. It's gonna get you
Lifestyle
a
creep.
lifestyle
Like
creep.
lifestyle creep. Creep lifestyle is what Jared Fogle did. It didn't work
Such
out
fuck.
for him too good.
Anyway, lifestyle creep. If you're in a lifestyle creep, you could get a lot further if you were just focusing on you, 100% you. Hell, even 80% you can get you a lot further than a lifestyle creep. But you gotta want it. Like, if you're one of those people that the 9 to 5 or the thought of 9 to 5 just pisses you off to the max, get into your bag, get into your God-given talent, and just dwell in that. Don't settle for nothing less. Don't be enticed by the temptations of the 9 to 5. Oh, well, this job lets you travel. Oh, this job XYZ. It has so many benefits.
I got good benefits.
This job you work 12 hours for 2 weeks and then you're off a whole week. No, don't fall into the 9 to 5 routine, because it will hold you. It leave you worn out to where you can't do nothing else but that job that they train you for. The 9 to 5 is so relentless that it teaches you how to do the 9 to 5 24/7 and nothing more and nothing less.
Thanks. All right, are we shutting it down?
Yeah, we can shut it down. And then this also made I seen this TikTok video of this lady. She's a merchant seaman. She drives the boat and she takes products on the boat, right? So you think, oh my God, she was advertising the job. She's traveling and all this other stuff. And then one of her videos, she was like, well, I can now cross out getting protected from pirates off my bucket list. I'm like, first of all, I was like, oh my God, we got pirates till this day. And then second, it was an armed guard with an AR shooting off the side of a boat. And I'm like, why put yourself in that type of situation? All for a 9 to 5.
Yep.
We will put our lives in danger. We would risk being shot at, being worn down, being broken down. But just won't be in our bag and just enjoying every second of it. We'd rather be miserable. And it's just insane.
And to the beginning of the episode where we were talking about, hold up, what are we? You want rock paper scissors for the last word? This one? No,
you got it.
Oh, okay. All right. So to the beginning of the episode where we were talking about Eddie, and I just want to make this abundantly clear. Like, Eddie had some $1 million ideas. They were good ideas, but the only thing that stopped him from actually getting the money that he deserved was the fact that he was trying to make the things that he was doing seem bigger than it actually was. I remember one episode, man, when this man was like, we're going to create a rocket ship and we're going to make people think that they're in a rocket ship going around the world in 60 seconds. I remember that stuff like vivid as day. And the only thing that killed it was the fact that he told these people that they were actually going around the world in 60 seconds in this rocket ship. And people were believing it. But the thing is that he used the word scam. All he had to do was replace the word scam with experience. This is an experience. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Because Big Ed gonna break his back at some point trying to lift his rocket. But all he had to do was use the word experience and it would have changed things for him. That's it. And people would have believed that it's an experience. And he would have believed, I mean, he was already in belief that he was going to make money from it regardless. Because that man was a hardcore, stone cold entrepreneur at heart. All he had to do was replace the word scam with the experience on most episodes. Actually, all of them. Every single one that you look at, if you replace the word scam with the experience, he would have sold those people. Every single time. Because he was an entrepreneur and he knew how to provide experiences. That was his bag. He was the experience maker. And there's a lot of experience makers out here who you know of right now who make a lot of money off of their experiences. And not only do they make a lot of money off of their experiences, you can never tell them how much their experience is worth. They tell you how much it's worth. P.T. Barnum, Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg. We can name them every single one of them. We can name them. And at one point, you told them how much you were spending on their stuff. Now they tell you. Now you don't even argue with it, no matter how outrageous it is. Elon Musk made a Cybertruck. Everybody hates it. Everybody hates it. I seen one for the first time, and the thing looks absolutely ridiculous. $180,000 for the base model.
Try seeing one in what is it called? Camo tent. No, chameleon tent.
And people are going to buy it, man. Because he created the experience. He knows how much the experience is worth, and he knows where to sell the experience. Yep. He knows exactly how to market the experience. Now, the thing is, with the experience makers in life, you know, and this is where I get to the conversation that I had with my wife, right? We should never be too childish to believe that we can't make experiences in life, and we can't profit off of the creation of experiences. You know, when I had that conversation with her, it almost broke my heart when I realized that, you know, we have the ultimate experience that we can provide people, and neither one of us. And you know, it's not only just my thing. You know, I'm not just focused on me. My wife wrote a book too, and she hasn't released it yet. Like, and just imagine, like, you got $1 million asset or something that could be considered $1 million asset in somebody's eyes. Somebody wish they could write a book like that. Somebody wish they could put words, string words together on a document somewhere. Somebody wish they can do that. There are people hacking people's computers for this stuff. This is literally gold. This is the Aether universe. Between the Aether universe, some of the self-development stuff that we wrote, and the book that she, the few books that she wrote, bro. We sitting on $1 million worth of content. And imagine having a conversation about your 9 to 5 in the process of that. When you're literally making millions of dollars of content on your computer every week. I know people who are singing. I know people who can act. I know people who can produce a beat and they can do it in like 2 hours. And it's the hottest thing that you've ever heard in your life. Imagine being those people in your gift, doing the thing that, and I know people who can make stuff. You know, Alyssa started this cross-stitching thing. I know people who can cross-stitch freehand. No diagram, just straight up, just 3D picture. Like, bruh. Like we all know people who can do something and do it on an extraordinary level. But they are too childish to understand that they have what they have their hands on. They are too childish to understand that they can take control of their own destiny. And that's the majority of us. Because we get into these spaces where we're too afraid. We're too afraid to take a risk and gamble on ourselves and take a gamble on our own gifts. Meanwhile, Eddie showed you that if I provide this scam or experience, then we're going to make this money. All I had to do was put it in front of the right people.
All right. That's crazy. All righty, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't got it by
I'm
now.
glad we crashed for the first time. Feel like that one came out a lot better. I feel good about that one.
I feel that. Yeah, that was we actually stayed on for a while. Because we're almost at another hour. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, if you ain't got it by now, we don't know what to tell you. We said a lot today, and that's all it is to it, man. Just remember that this has been the Dirty Trunk Podcast, where the elephant is always welcome. It is me, your boy Marcus Morton. Always here with me is the AJ McMullen. And before we go, please trample over that like and subscribe button. We do this for y'all because we do love y'all, and we just want to give y'all the motivation to be better than y'all were yesterday. And always remember that those who shy away from addressing the elephant in the room are doomed to be crushed by the weight of it. We love y'all.
Peace. Love y'all. See y'all next week.